How are you doing, friend?
I'm great, Maddie. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Welcome to the Reality Roundup, y'all. This is episode, I don't have any idea, but we are watching episode 12 of Love is Blind.
The leap of faith.
Um, Leap of Faith, yes, is the name of the episode, aka the wedding episode. That we are watching, we've already watched and we're going to talk about it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe to an up and coming, not struggling Black podcast, and also share with your friends. Obviously, that's how we get views and stuff like that. So please share with your friends.
hmm
I think that's it for the business, the church announcements, if you will.
All right. Thank you, Maddie.
Mhm.
What'd you think of this episode?
I hate Ramses.
Yeah? Why?
I just wanted to say that I reviewed my notes of all of the notes that I took of this whole season, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I well, let me be real about this. I understand what happened between Marissa and Ramses. I just like don't like him. Like it has been building steadily over the last few batches of episodes because we went to multiple episodes to 1 to 1 to 1 or 2 to 1. And I just don't like Ramses. And I don't like the way that he um I did not want them to get married. Let me be clear. I did not want them to get married. I didn't want them to work this out. I just feel like the way that he put all of that, all of his doubt really onto these conversations that he had with his family and his friends, instead of just being like, I don't want to marry you, I felt was really, really, really annoying.
hmm
But other than that, this was just like a semi anticlimactic episode, if that makes sense, because like it feels like all of the big wedding day drama of the yeses and the nos has already happened at this point, because we've had
hmm
multiple people just
True.
not even make it that far. And so other than that, it was like anticlimactic, which I think
We'll,
with go ahead.
we'll table this, but like controversial take. Because apparently Netflix used to have a fine, like a $50,000 fine if people left the show early, like before wedding day. Up until last season, which is why recently we've been seeing people breaking up more frequently before the wedding day.
Wait a minute, you're telling me that they were charging people for leaving the show early?
hmm
Holy shit.
Controversial take. They need to bring it back because, like you said, we don't have the like drama. Like I understand that
Mm.
like ethically or morally, it is kind of like rude to have people. I mean, it's not rude. It is a little dubious to have
Who
people
has the
like
money to pay that?
nobody. That's why they were going to the altar and saying no, which also made the show more entertaining. That's my point.
I back up your controversial take. I second
My
it.
point is it needs to be back because the people who know they're going to be the villain of this show, who know that they're like kind of messing up somebody else's experience, start getting hyper aware of it, and then they just kind of start playing in love until they get to the altar to say no, in which case they're still the villain anyway. So like don't give them an
I
out,
agree with
don't
you.
let them go out like on some like like Tim, oh I'm just like want to be mature and I never want to see your face again, like like don't let them go out, make him have to like really think about the financial repercussions of leaving Alex, like because she took a nap, and then he can go, oh, like, and you'll see him just like sabotaging the relationship for the next 2 weeks, and then they get to the altar for him to say no, and you're like, Tim, why did you put Alex through all of that? That's what I like about the show. I don't want to see people breaking up before their wedding. I want to see it at the
Honestly,
altar. Show us.
honestly, I agree.
Make your grandmama fly out here and tell that girl no. Tell your grandmother say like.
I completely agree. And like you said, morally and ethically isn't,
Mhm.
but removing that, I completely agree. For the sake of watching the television show, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. There
You know
should
what?
be some sort of consequence for fucking around. Oh,
Like
I
to
found
to
it out.
to 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 a few things that you said where you were like, and the reason I push back every time where you were like, oh, I think like I wish they didn't have the pressure of the show and they could just date, and people do that all the time, and that's supposed to be seen as like a romantic alternative. I don't care. Don't come on Love Is Blind. Don't come on Married at First Sight. If you're not trying to get married in 3 weeks, if marriage is just such a too large of a commitment for you to make a like an informed decision in 3 weeks, don't come on here to find a wife then. Go date. Like, ask your friends, ask your dentist to set you up or something. And then you can take the time to have a long, dating experience and then a long engagement and then, eventually marriage. If you're the type of person who needs to date somebody for 2 years and live with them for 6 months before you can commit to
Mm.
marrying them, this show isn't for you. Married at First Sight isn't for you. That's what I have like
Which ironically was Marissa's point to Ramses.
yeah, no, so I do want to get back to something else that you said. I think you were like what I thought was going to happen. I don't know. I don't quite remember. Why do you hate Ramses again? Let's just go back there.
Oh, I just don't like the way. I mean, I reviewed my notes and I realized that I have been starting to dislike Ramses continuously this whole time,
Hmm.
but or since episode 7, I
I
think
think
is
since episode
where.
one, you or two, when he first appears, I think you disliked him from the very beginning. I think a lot of
I
people do. Like I'm online, I'm in the streets, and people don't like, especially a lot of like women, like women don't like Ramses because they don't like his aesthetics. They've already kind of associated that aesthetics to a bunch of personality traits from the real world of liberal men and da and the larger things. So everyone
Mhm.
feels sort of like vindicated because they all judged him based on his hair and his clothes, and everyone feels vindicated because he breaks up with Marissa at this point. I don't think he's been a very liked character this entire time.
I liked Ramses a lot at the beginning. I really, at least according to my notes, I did. And then episode 7 is where I'm kind of like, oh, you're getting on my nerves. But I just did not to me in this episode, it seems like he puts the burden of his decision
I agree with
on.
you.
Okay, yeah, so that is exactly what I said. That he just kind of is just like, well, I had these conversations with my family, and I just want to be like, you don't want to marry
Yeah,
her, just say that.
like I don't think Ramses is a bad person. I think he's a coward. I don't dislike him.
Yes, yes.
But like I think like watching this scene between him and her, like all of my criticisms of him, like when they're back in DC, of him just like talking around issues and never
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
like being so, and I think it's just because he's so hyper aware of his like image on the show, so he's trying to
Yes.
like perform this like sophistication and emotional intelligence, but like it's not emotionally intelligent to like to obscure your thoughts in this word salad where like cuz she's asking
Completely.
him like and she's like at times in the scene literally begging him for either to stay together or for a reason of why they can't be together. And he's just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I didn't know that my ex-wife was so. I don't know how long he's been divorced. I think it's been a few years, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how badly my ex-wife was hurt. But like the whole season, we've asked you
It
talk
was a
about
very
how
weird thing.
amicable your divorce was and how it was like a mutual decision and y'all were headed down different paths. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe it took Ladallis and your brother. He said my niece's mom. I was like, you're who?
But I was like, shut up.
Like
Because what are you
that
talking about? Your
my
niece's
niece my
mom
niece's mom and my mailman, my Uber driver and my third grade teacher, they've all been hitting me up and they were like
my Reiki instructor.
they were like, your ex-wife, man, she's just so heartbroken. Like it was just I felt really 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 bad for Marissa. Marissa does this interview and she talks about this and she was, I think the day that they have this conversation, like we're brought, he's trying to intellectualize it as this like
Yes.
caring action that he's doing and this like logical and thoughtful thing that he's doing. When I think, in all honesty, and I said this last episode, is I think Ramses liked sleeping with Marissa and like the novelty of the newness, right? The newness of their intimacy wore off and he's just like, "Oh yeah, I don't really want to do this." I don't think he was ever prepared to like do this experiment um and see it through to the author to the altar, I'm sorry.
In general or with Marissa?
I want to say in general.
Hmm.
I'll say with Marissa because I don't. I didn't read him as like my initial thoughts of him from just like seeing him was like fuck boy, probably here to like kind of maybe not for fame because I don't. He really doesn't give me that type of personality, but like
Hmm.
probably just here to kind of like maybe to get a little bit of exposure to get more women in the DMs, like for sure. Like he on that Steven
I think
timing.
that's a fair take. I think that's a very fair take.
But I think like as he spoke in the pods, and as he spoke to Marissa, not because I don't think I really thought much of them. I was snoozing through a lot of their scenes. I thought they were pretty boring in the pods. But like at the honeymoon, I was like, oh, this could really work. Like they do seem quite compatible.
Yeah.
Um, just in personality, as we saw the issues kind of arise with them with their ethics, their beliefs, their
Hmm.
politics.
Hmm.
I thought less so that they were like compatible. I was always
Yeah.
skeptical that like they'd be able to make it work politically, because I think the reading that I've always got from him is that he is somebody that is deeply entrenched in his like political like
Yes.
very
You've
rigid
definitely said that.
in his political beliefs. And that type of person can't really be compatible with someone like Marissa, who's, and I think that's kind of her thing here too,
Mm-hmm.
right? She's just like, oh, like love will win over. I know you're telling me that you don't feel
Hmm.
sure about us and you have all of these doubts, but we love each other so much that like let's just go to down to the altar and make it happen,
And make it work
and
afterward.
love will win out, and I'm okay with being unhappy for 5 years or whatever.
Oh, yes. Which is a very, I mean, maybe this is just easier from an outside perspective, but I would think that through Marissa's experiences that we know about, I guess I'm just surprised at her naivete. It's a little bit mean.
I
Um,
think she is naive.
kind of like withstands that because like if love conquered all, why aren't you with that Trump supporter still?
Yeah, like no, I think I've been saying this. Like my main like criticism of Marissa as a person is just that like I also don't think she should have done this either. Like, and
No.
I like her personally. I just I don't think she knows how to like vet a man, and I think in a situation like this, like she she's she's prime picking for somebody like Ramses or Bowden, who isn't who's right. She could have ended up
Mm.
with the guy with multiple SA
Oh
allegations,
God, I'm so
or the guy who love bombs her and breaks up with her right before the altar and has no like and express no interest in like trying to do the labor of planning the wedding along with her.
oh my gosh, yes. I mean, I just and
He
I
just
don't
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
know. I was just gonna say that Marissa seems like genuinely heartbroken about this in a way that I can't recall ever seeing before on the show.
Yeah, same.
Um, and it was honestly it was a little bit difficult to watch, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah, because she's very, very upset. Um, God, I just hate Ramses.
yeah. I don't hate Ramses. I'm very curious to see what the both of them. Oh, I that's the other thing that came out of her interview. Apparently, they spoke a few times after this. They had one very long conversation over the phone, and she apparently tried to get back with him multiple times. And like I think they had a like an
Hmm.
8 hour long conversation over the phone, and she did try to ask him if he wanted to get back together after that. She thought they were going to get back together. She asked him if he wanted to. He said no again, and that
Hmm.
was the last time they spoke. So they haven't spoken since until the reunion. So the reunion is going to be the first time we see them. You want to move on?
Yes. My next note is about Tyler.
Yes. Tyler and Ashley. What are your thoughts?
I just felt dramatically
Well,
uncomfortable this whole time.
well, do you want to talk about the bachelor and bachelorette parties before we talk about the weddings?
Oh, yes. We
Bruh,
had, go ahead, go ahead.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
We have the men going to the Washington Wizards,
Correct.
and then the women had the like the indoor glamping
They're in
event.
a warehouse. Hated it. They sent those boys to a well. I mean, to be fair, it was a Wizards Hornets game, so like, I'm just pissed about the girls.
Tyler's
I only brought this up to talk about the girls because they threw them ladies in the little warehouse, a little like it looked like seriously, it's just concrete and brick and metal, and they just threw some pink and gold decorations around and called it a day. I'd be so tight. Like these girls couldn't go to a
especially
concert or something. Like,
yeah, because we've had some fun ones in the past. We've been on boats in the past. Like we've done some fun bachelorettes in the past, and this was not giving.
yeah,
I mean, I liked the decorations, but it was not giving.
yeah. Also, I did want to talk about this because Ashley and Taylor looked fantastic. All episode. I mean,
Oh my
Ashley
gosh.
looked so gorgeous. Full episode. Whole
Oh my
episode.
gosh, absolutely. I was actually going to literally add, I didn't write it in my notes, but I was going to be like, can we just have like a fashion moment to talk about how the both of them looked so beautiful? I loved Taylor's dress.
Let's talk about the weddings.
Yes. Who went first, Tyler and Ash?
Mhm.
I uh, fully acknowledging that the music was like creating this sort of scenario in my head, like the background score, but it just felt like they were gearing up and gearing up and gearing up for Tyler to say no. And then obviously he doesn't. And I was just kind of like anxious the whole time. But then I was like, weirdly enough, not weirdly
Did you
enough,
did
because
you think for like he was gonna say no at any point?
I I kind of like split. I don't know if this is going to make sense. But I was like secretly hoping he would have a come to Jesus moment and say no because he knew what was he was hiding from
Okay.
Ashley. And I
So
had a moment.
here's my
Okay.
thing. When I watched this episode, I was like, cause the last two drops, I have watched it and been very uncomfortable. Like I really have been barely paying attention to their scenes.
Hmm.
But when I was like watching this episode and watching both he and her, I just kept thinking, I was like, well, one, it's produced. Like there's a bunch of stuff that's deleted. Maybe they're addressing this constantly. What I'm
Hopefully.
really curious to know is what Ashley actually knows. Like I'm really
Yes.
I'm really curious. Like does she know? Because also since the last drop, I didn't watch this in its entirety, but Jesse Wu and Storytime with Ricky did a
Mm.
live stream with Deshay, I think the lady's name is, which is the ex-wife of Tyler's the ex-wife of Tyler's baby mama. Tyler baby
Okay.
mama ex-wife.
Yes.
And she talks about, the nature of her relationship with Bry, who's Tyler's baby mom.
Mm.
Or I'm saying Tyler's baby mom, the woman who had Tyler's children, because, as he tells it, he was a sperm donor. But
Yeah.
she illuminates a lot of stuff about like the happenings of their relationship. Deshay does, and she talks about how she believes that Bride cheated on her with Tyler for the first child, because she just doesn't believe, like, and I think I've already shared this with you. She just didn't believe that this was done turkey baster method because they'd already been trying for a while, and then she had to leave and go out of town for a work trip or something, and when she comes back, Bride's pregnant, and she's like, wait, we've
Oh.
already tried this a few times, it didn't work, what now? And Bride's like, oh, I just did the thing without you and it happened. And she's like, well, we didn't have any more, like I only bought two, we already used up both of them. Where'd you? Oh no, I found one under the sink, like. And she's like,
Mariama, I found one of the sink is taking me
well, no,
out.
I mean, it's not funny to me, but I wasn't trying to be funny. But I'm just saying, like, she's just like, she doesn't believe that. But then Bry also did, which I couldn't watch this in its entirety. She did like a 9-10 minute video on TikTok or whatever. But
Oh.
she at points was like, she maintains that, you know, this was like her and Tyler, the first kid, the boy, it was what she says it is, right? He just kind of donated some sperm for them to help them have a baby. But on the second one, her and her ex-wife broke up. He decided to step up as a father and be a father figure to that kid, and somehow, some way, they end up living together for a while and co-parenting and all types of foolishness, and
Hmm.
they slept together, and so the twins were conceived naturally.
Mm.
And she has had let him at some point at times run with that narrative because she wasn't fully comfortable with that, because she'd always identified as a lesbian, so she was like uncomfortable that she
Hmm. Hmm.
slept with Tyler. But then the other stuff that's just like really unclear is just she he's on the birth certificate for, well, no, the Deshay is on the birth certificate for their son. And
The
this is the
individual baby.
yeah, this is the one, the first one that Tyler was supposedly helping this couple out with, and he was supposed to relinquish all parental rights or
Hmm.
whatever. But the baby has his last name. It's really messy. I like, at this point, I can't even like watch this and be like, I can't like be super upset at him or like disgusted by his behavior. I think I'm disgusted by like the fact that he omitted this from Ashley up until the
Yeah.
point that they do. I'm just not sure like, and this is the part that I'm really struggling with. I'm not sure that Ashley is like entirely a victim in this. I feel like there's a world where
No, because I
Ashley
was thinking that as well.
I think there's a world where Ashley knows all of this and is like, that's my man, I'm gonna stick beside him. And
Yes.
Netflix knows that's the case, and Netflix is like, okay, this is our show, we're gonna protect it, we're not gonna reveal all of this on camera. And then they were just kind of hoping and praying that it wouldn't come out as the show was airing, and now that it is,
Mm,
I'm
mm.
very curious what he and she, because it seems like they're still together. Um, I'm guessing at this because one, they got married. I don't think they turned around and got divorced 6 months later. Maybe they did, but two,
That wouldn't be the first
they're
time.
kind of matching for the reunion in their outfits. That's all I have to go off of.
Oh, but you know that's Love is Blind reunion 101 when people
Uh,
are matching.
so like Garrett and Taylor are matching, but like Taylor, I've seen a few TikToks from Taylor, and she's like very prominently wearing her ring.
Hmm.
Since the wedding episode has aired, she's been doing TikToks and stuff, and she's like wearing her ring. Um, I haven't seen anything from Ashley, but like they are matching for the reunion, so I'm like, maybe.
I
I'm
think you're
just
completely right,
I,
though. There is definitely a world where she knows it, at least all that we think she could know,
mhm.
and is totally okay with it. I think so, yes.
That's like that's the only thing because
Which I guess
sometimes
is her choice.
it,
Yeah.
yeah, and what a choice it
It's,
would be.
yeah. Yeah. And I will say that it struck me, what you're saying struck me individually, not until they're doing that like post wedding like confessional where they're just like the two of them like sitting together outside or standing together outside, and she keeps saying like I'm a married woman, like, and I was like, oh, did we like fall into that trap of you just wanted to be married, and so whatever he was going to
Well,
throw your way was going to be whatever it was because you were already too far down the line,
yeah, like there
which
there
happens.
I mean there are a few times where throughout the season where Ashley's just been like, there the dating pool is a cesspool, like there's so much situationships, I've this and I think she really from the very first episode we get the sense that she's one of the few people that's here that's like really like here for a husband and a long term forever
Hmm.
partner, right? And for to Tyler's credit, up until the second drop of episodes, he seemed like the perfect man to give her all of those things.
Absolutely.
Um, you know, they're aligned religiously, like they're aligned, on kids or
Hmm.
whatever. I just saw like the
Yeah.
only things that made me uncomfortable here was when he's like talking to his groomsmen and they're like clearly asking him about like like sex on the honeymoon, and I was just like, come on, y'all. Also, how come nobody's mentioning these kids? Do you think he's hiding these kids from his mama
I
and all his friends?
I have been thinking about this for weeks now. Ever since we got back from Mexico, were we in Mexico?
Hmm.
Yes. Ever since we got back from Mexico and you told me the whole situation, because I didn't know, because I you told me about the kids thing. Um, I have been wondering this the whole time. And when we were doing
I just want to know what
this,
everybody knows. Because then
yes,
I can judge everybody. I want to know what they know.
when we were doing the suit fitting and his friends were like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen you in love before, like all of the yapping that the people usually do at the fittings. I was just kind of looking at them and I was like really confused because I was like, wait, do you not know about the kids? Like, does everybody not know about the kids? Like, who doesn't know about the kids? Like, I am so confused by this whole situation. Because how could you hide
Yep.
those kids from like, well, I guess you could hide them from your friends, but from your mom?
His mother definitely knows.
Oh, and no, I don't. I just want to know. I'm like
I
you.
want to like the thing is I think everybody knows. I want to know the version of the story that Tyler is telling them. Like cuz I think that's where their culpability and their accountability lies is what do they think is going on? Cuz if they really do just think that Tyler helped, friends of
Sperm.
his, have babies, he's a good guy, but if someone is like, I mean, Tyler had these pictures on his Facebook. His family knows. He had Christmas photos, pumpkin patch photos. He's sitting outside that lady's house, holding the son, staring deep into the baby eyes. Like it's looking real father. It's looking real fatherly.
It is.
Yeah, real icky. Like, and just like when her dad was talking, like, oh, you just gotta. There's gonna be good and there's gonna be bad. I'm like, please don't tell her this. This isn't the bad she got to be dealing with.
No, that is exactly what I was thinking. And my note for
I was
that
like,
was
please don't tell her this. Don't put this in her head.
no, especially coming from him. Like,
Yeah, we did get more information about the nature of their relationship, in which
yeah, I was just like, oh, I don't like this. And I just wrote Dad's be yapping because he was just saying like platitude after platitude after
yeah,
platitude with like no
he sounded
substance.
real African to me.
He does,
Right? Like, did you
yes.
catch that accent?
I did. I
That might
absolutely
be one of
did.
my brethren.
I
Ashley might be a cousin. She
I
might
love
be.
that.
Like, he sounds real like West African to me. Looks it too.
Yes.
Garrett and Taylor.
And Tay
Oh,
Tay.
I didn't talk about this. Ashley, you looked beautiful on your wedding day. Your glam
Fantastic.
was gorgeous. I think this is probably the best makeup that I've seen on a black bride. I've only
Absolutely.
watched 3 seasons of the show, but I think it looked better than Nadine's and maybe even Lauren's a little bit. Beautiful, beautiful
Mhm.
hair, beautiful makeup. Her dress was so lovely. Like,
So beautiful. Dedicated to the side part as usual.
yes, she was.
My
Her dress
queen.
looked so good. So
Oh,
good. Like,
perfectly
couple with
fitted.
her, like, her wedding day, her earrings, the little like diamond shape like drop earring. Beautiful.
I love the ballerinas too.
Yeah, gorgeous,
I
gorgeous
did. I
lady.
really gorgeous, gorgeous
Tyler
girls.
looked good too. I love the choice of the white coat.
Oh, yes.
It was it was so nice. I think I forgot, like, yeah, they had such a beautiful wedding. The green and then the bridesmaids in the green. Like, this is all I was
Mhm.
thinking about. Like, most of what I was thinking about is how beautiful, like, they their wedding looked, the decor,
So beautiful.
the
Did not
dresses.
like her mom's color of dress. I'm gonna say it. I
What
didn't
did
like the orange.
her mom wear? I thought it was pink.
It was
Oh.
it was orange and it
Uh,
was disruptive to me to this color scheme. It was a beautiful dress. Just I didn't like it.
didn't pay attention. I did think their pastor, their officiant, was doing a little too much. there was a
He
point of
was.
there was a point of the ceremony where it was like really pleasant, but he was so like hype. He had like his own little flavor. I was like, not we don't need color commentary on the wedding day. Like, read
He
your
was doing a lot.
read your notes. Like, it's an open book test. Read your notes. Let's go home, baby. This is
An
not about
open book
you.
test is great. Yes. No, he seemed to be having a rip roaring good
Yeah,
time.
he was enjoying himself for sure. And he was trying to, like, he was hamming it up for the crowd.
At Netflix.
And Netflix for sure. All right,
Mhm.
Taylor and Garrett.
Oh, no notes. I am a well, I still don't like his mom, but other than that, no
Really?
notes. She just
What
puts
did
me
she
off a
do?
little
What did she
bit.
do?
I just get a bad vibe from her. I
What's
don't
the
know how else
vibe?
to.
Like, say the thing. Say the
The
weird thing.
vibe is that I just feel like she's a boy mom, and
What does
I
that
don't.
matter? What does that mean?
I just feel like she's one of these like nobody's ever gonna be good enough for my little boy, and it's
It's her
like, ugh.
son. Like, I understand, like, people do this. This is why I hate the internet, because, like, somebody throws one of these phrases into the ether and people view everything through that lens. This seems like a really normal, loving mom who, like, likes her son and is supporting him on his wedding
I
day.
just don't get that vibe, and like it's not to say that I don't like. I do not feel that way about every mom who is the mom of a boy. I really genuinely do not. But to me, I just was like, ugh, I don't like that. Side note, completely unrelated to anything. I did not like his sister's hat that she was wearing. I was like, take that hat off, girl. You're
I didn't
blocking my
notice
view.
his sister, to be honest. We see Taylor talking to her mom, Fong from Hong Kong,
Fog from
who
Hong
just looks,
Kong.
I mean, she looks like, she, I would say Fong looked more sullen than Garrett's mom, truthfully, but she gives her like a bonnet. And I don't think this means anything. Like, these people are watching their kids get married in 3 weeks. Like, I expect everybody to be a little like
Confused?
skeptical and like proceed with a bit of trepidation. Like,
Yeah, that's
um
fair.
But she gives Taylor this bonnet, and it's so cute. And my favorite moment of the whole episode is when Taylor goes, "How long have you had this?" And she just says, "How old are you?"
How old are you? I was like, be for real. You know when you were born. And then honestly, I really love, even though it was like when Taylor like just put it on top of her head, and
Yeah.
like, I was like, I actually really love this. I love the 13.
Oh,
Um,
well,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. Talk about the 13.
I just thought it was really cool because like the first with
It's a beautiful coincidence, yeah.
yeah, with Taylor, or yes, because Taylor's parents go first, and then like, it's the 13th. We got married on the 13th.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cute. And then when Garrett's parents said, oh, it's the 13th, we got married on the 13th, I was like, I actually really love this. Like, this
Very,
is really cute.
very cute.
Because I'm assuming they don't pick their wedding day, because Netflix does.
Before that, Garrett, or Taylor's dad, goes to see Garrett. And is this the first time we've seen him on the show?
Mr. Krause, yes.
Mr. Krause? So yeah, he goes to see Garrett. And I thought it was a very lovely moment with him helping Garrett with
Hmm.
his bow tie, which wasn't actually a bow tie. It was like the
When Garrett asked for help with the bow tie, I thought we were going to be tying a bow tie.
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe you can't reach behind your neck. All right, cool. Like, do it before, open it, and then just tighten it. You do you, Garrett. Do you, G
You do
baby.
you. Gee, baby.
Taylor's dad and Garrett looked really similar. They both also have a birthmark on the left side of their face. Um,
Yes,
and then we
yes.
see Taylor's parents come and see her, and they talk about the 13 thing. I didn't like Taylor's dress. Loved her glam. I liked her shoes, and I really, really, really liked her headpiece. But like,
Mm.
I really just didn't. I didn't like her dress.
I loved her dress.
Did
I
we
do.
see her try on this dress?
I could not remember that in the moment, and I still can't remember that because we also do a lot of talking about how like Fong like wanted to make her dress, and so
Hmm.
I was kind of like, is this maybe the dress that Fong made her? Because I don't remember seeing her put on that dress.
Yeah, I don't think she tried on this dress, but I mean, she looked beautiful anyway. I mean, she looked gorgeous
I
anyway.
loved it.
I liked her headpiece a lot. I love that. Like, it looks kind of like a headband, that thick white.
The
Uh,
headband before the veil. Oh, I
yeah,
loved it.
that thick white headband that she had on, and I thought her mom looked great. Like,
Oh, Fong
there,
looks fantastic.
this was God, who was it? I feel like last year, or was it like one of these seasons? I remember like watching it and being like, only one of these like mothers of the bride are dressed appropriately for what they got
Mm,
going on here today.
yes.
I think it may have been season one where I felt like maybe Lauren's mom was like the only person that showed up, like they were attending a wedding for their daughter, like their daughter's wedding.
hmm
She nailed this look. She looked so good. I liked her little necklace. Okay. Then we get the uh Garrett's parents. His dad was funny, real dad joke,
That was
real dad humor.
real dad energy, yes.
Any other thoughts?
Um, I loved, even though it's like doesn't mean anything, obviously, but I love that Taylor had like a portfolio for her vows.
Her vows were great.
They were so good. And I like they just seem like
The
happy and
the big
normal.
the big catch
The
line. It's so her. I mean, she's so clever. Like,
yes.
she's
And
so
then they go
witty.
to
She's so witty. Like,
I love her. And then they go to the reception and she put her Converse back on. I was like, this feels like
I think
Taylor.
I had stopped watching at that point. I was waiting for the, the episode to end.
I'm really happy for Taylor and Garrett. Um, I know it is impossible. Well, I guess it's not super impossible, but I always find it interesting that like we don't get to see like other pod people at other people's weddings. Um,
We have though. We have. It's
have
rare,
we?
but we have. I
Okay.
feel like there were people at Deepti's wedding or even Natalie's wedding
Hmm.
from the pods.
Yeah.
Um, I remember that. Like that's probably like the main one that I remember. Um,
I always wonder why that is, if that's like a choice or not.
they probably have a limited like
Number.
capacity
Yeah.
because they always like we all the weddings seem like the same size, and I think that's very coincidental that everybody chooses the exact like similar numbers of people to have attend their Netflix wedding. So Netflix probably
Yeah.
gives them like a number they can't go over, and then I have people that I've literally known my entire life, and these people that I met 3 weeks ago. Like, who am I gonna invite?
Very true. Very true. I think what Garrett says 42 days at some point, and I was like, oh wow, that is a perspective shift for me.
Yeah, that's a quick time to plan a wedding, but like you're not even planning for all 42 of those days. You're only planning for about 27 of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. I wonder what the budget Netflix gives people, or if they have like a pre. Well, I think it's changed over the years. I feel like the first few seasons it was like a very like prescribed wedding situation, but I feel like we've seen at least this season more like control over individual elements than before on wedding
Yeah.
day. Not the place, obviously. Netflix always makes you get married at the same place, but
Yeah. We'll see. I'm excited for the reunion. I will say
very
like this
excited.
the ending of this season has been pretty anticlimactic for a few reasons. So
Like I
I'm
said,
I'm really curious. I think this should be, like I said, this should be a 2 hour long reunion, but we're not gonna get it. It should be a two-parter because we gotta talk to Hannah. We gotta talk to Steven. We need.
I actually don't even I know for good TV, but I actually like really don't want to hear from Steven. Like I don't it's just gonna make me so uncomfortable. Like
No,
it did when they brought
it's not
out
even for good TV. I
Tyler.
want to know what happened because we didn't see. If I had seen the scene, if I had seen more of
Hmm.
the stuff, like right before the fight, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, oh, is a freaky deaky, and Monica's not about that life. And like you cheated on your fiance. I don't really need much more of an explanation than that.
Yes.
But like we didn't see all of that context, so we got to talk to Steven and Monica. I think Monica seems like really over it, so I don't expect to see fireworks from Monica. I don't think it's going to be like super
No.
entertaining or drama filled. I don't expect to see fireworks from them.
No.
I think the biggest sort of things that are going to come from the reunion is going to be how much did, and I hope we just start with Tyler and Ashley. How much did Ashley know? How much did
Yeah.
Tyler tell? What is Tyler's perspective on this? Like, because is he still going with the donor? What does he say? Donor sperm babies? Yeah,
Sperm donor, yeah.
he's still going with that narrative. What did Ash know before walking down the aisle? What does she know now? Are those two the same?
Yeah.
I'm really preparing for myself for, that's my man. I'm gonna stick beside him. That bitch lying.
I
I'm
I don't know.
preparing myself for the slanderous.
Or people on the internet just say, all of these things,
Yeah.
and you don't know what it's
Just
like to
all
really
this
be with
drama.
us.
You guys are creating all this drama, and that y'all just live and thrive off of drama. That's not how I live my life. Like, I'm prepared for
Hmm.
that. Um,
I wonder if they're gonna have old couples like they did
I
last
hope not. That
session.
shit was so pointless and disgusting. And also, we don't need the audience questions read by Giannina. Like, we don't need it. We don't need it. If you want audience questions, just have
Did
Vanessa.
you Nina give birth? She did, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it's been a long
I
time.
don't know what time is.
Um, yeah, we don't need the couples. We don't want to see them because the only ones we really care about is Lauren and Cameron, and they won't be there. So,
I
like
want to talk to
like
Lori Cameron so
the
badly.
only people we care about are like the only couples we really care about are them, and then the only people we care about aren't in a couple. So we really don't like.
I don't think there's anything. I mean, we got the reunion and that's it. For the foreseeable future. I don't know where they filmed next, so
Yeah,
I
me
don't think we know
neither.
that yet.
I don't even really pay attention to this until the. I don't pay
Yeah.
attention to any Love Is Blind news until the first set of episodes hit Netflix.
I can't wait to watch Love is Blind UK with my sister. I'm so
Are you
excited.
watching Love Is Blind, Habibi?
No, not yet. I'm
Are
my
you
sister.
planning to? Is my question. Do
Yes.
you watch all of the international versions?
No.
Oh, I don't watch any of them.
Thank you for watching this week's reality roundup, Love is Blind edition. We have one more episode of Love is Blind, the reunion, which is going to be, fire, flames, fireworks, all that jazz. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share to help an upcoming podcast. I think that's pretty much it. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.